Women want to tame the bad boy to fix his flaws so he becomes what she wants. She loves the fantasy of what she wants despite the fact his actions don't match his words.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
100%.
You especially.
My girlfriend's going through that right now. She saw all the red flags, but she just wanted to be in love.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think that you can change
You
people.
go after fixer-uppers?
Yeah.
We know Jennifer does.
I have.
Him just a few things I can fix, and he'll be perfect.
I think that I accept people that are flawed. And I've learned my lesson that flawed people generally don't change or get better. They usually get worse. Lesson learned.
So she says,
I'm single now, so
until the next time.
we'll see.
Yeah, I have a family member that every guy she's dated has had so many issues. Either they're like in debt, they got kicked out from home, they do drugs, family hates them, like a lot of problems, and she kind of gets drawn to those people because she feels like she needs to take care of them and support them and like emotionally fix them. And I'm just like, girl, they always end up breaking your heart because they do. They latch on to like that like aid from her, and once they get it and they feel like, you know, at ease, they're like, okay, bye. And then she gets hurt and she's like, wait, but like what happened? Like I fixed you and now you're gone. And I'm like, because that's all they want. That's all they needed. You were their what's it called? What are those boxes? The first aid kit. Yeah,
Band-Aid.
Yeah, she was that, and I'm like, you gotta realize that like these boys are not good for you. She finally found someone that wasn't needing help at all, and she realized.
Well, manipulative people or like narcissists, they tend to pick people with empathy, soft, kind people as their targets, because they know how to push those buttons. If you're a really cold, badass bitch, they're not going to want to date you. But if you're a sweet listener, and you're understanding and you have so much empathy, tell me about it. Let me help you. Let me make you something to eat. They're going to say, that's my next victim, because I can get away with a lot more manipulation with that kind of a person than I can with the really strong type of person. So she's probably a very kind, sweet, understanding.
She's so nice.
Yeah, a sweet person.
So giving.
But they're magnets for manipulative people, though, sadly.
Yeah.
She has a low opinion of herself?
She did in the past until now. That's why she found someone who has no troubles, because she realized she needs to put her foot down and like not put up with shit like that. So
does she love him?
Yeah.
Is she in love with him? Infatuated?
She's very into him right now. So
how long have they been together?
Like 3 months maybe.
They 3 whole months.
She fell really quick, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's great. And he's kind of taking care of her now, like supporting her with everything. And I'm like, that's what you've been needing, and I'm so happy for her.
In a few months she'll be like, I don't know, he's really nice, but I'm confused. There's something missing.
The attachment styles have to match. If they have matching attachment styles, it will work. But
like they have to have the same attachment style?
Well, some attachment styles can go with different types, and some have to be like their own.
You know the attachment styles?
Some of them, I'm not really clear on it. But you know what else is interesting? I did see a video recently that they did brain studies, and there were like 4 categories of people that were stronger in certain areas. Like one is like there was one category of people that were more driven by serotonin, and they were religious, structured, that sort of thing. And those people with their brain chemistry like that could only match up with people that were like them. But the group of people that were more run by their testosterone, they could be with people in other categories. So that's how I kind of picture the attachment styles too. You know, I think that some attachment styles work together that are different, and some don't. It's interesting.
I think Dominic told me something about that. Like, he was like, people tend to go for other people that mirror
Mm-hmm.
yourself.
Mm-hmm.
They have
And
the same wounds.
yeah, and that's why those relationships never work.
Right. So there's like the what's it? The normal attachment style that starts with a S.
Secure?
Something like that. Someone who's like fine, they don't have any issues. And there's an anxious attachment style who's nervous, always trying to please.
Avoidance, one of them.
And then avoidant are people that are kind of cold, aloof. When they're upset, they disappear. So, if you have a normal attachment style, then you can probably be with those other two. But those other two don't, like an avoidant and an anxious are a bad matchup, and two avoidants are going to be a bad matchup. It's more technical than that. I'm not an expert on it, but that's kind of the gist of it. And it was like that brain study they did too. I think the categories were people that were driven by dopamine, serotonin, and then there was the testosterone section, and then there was another section that was like more female estrogen, stuff like that. It's interesting. And it's all based on brain chemistry. So there's a lot more going on that we don't even realize, in our subconscious with our attachment styles and our brain chemistry and what we're driven by, our chemicals too, that comes into play. It's, so when you're looking at a manipulative person and a person who has empathy, their hormones may be crazy too, and they have like a crazy history and trauma, so their attachment styles are different. There's so many things to take in consideration.
That's so true.
So, what about when your ex-boyfriends who we've talked about, the one that you reference as being a parasite?
Okay.
What about the excuses that you made for him?
I loved him, and I was going to put up with whatever he put out because I was committed, and I thought he was my forever person. So,
did you really believe that and feel that in your soul,
Yeah.
or did you convince yourself of it?
yeah, despite the things that drove me crazy, I was 100% committed to him. He was going to be my forever person. No doubt in my mind. No doubt. So I was frustrated by the flaws, and making excuses would be maybe just for me to maybe convince myself that everything was going to be okay and it wasn't going to get worse. The way like I mentioned before, I accepted him as he was with his flaws, but it's when they get worse that pushes you over the edge. And that's kind of what happened with us. The way he was kind of drove me crazy, like a hoarder, like everything in the garage. Oh, I'm going to clean it out. I'm going to clean out the garage. And it just 4 trash cans later and it still looked exactly the same. A year goes by, 2 years go, 5 years go by, and I'm like, I would send him articles on hoarding. Get rid of the stuff. That was a red flag and it drove me crazy. Was I going to leave the love of my life because of it? No, I was just going to try and help him. That's not a deal breaker just because he has a bunch of stuff in the garage. I was in love with him. I wasn't going to break up with him over that. So there's those types of things in a relationship. You have to make sacrifices. There's give and take. You negotiate, If you love somebody, that's why our grandparents were married 75 years and, that sort of thing. They put up with a lot of each other's shit, and stood the test of time instead of just cutting and running. But that relationship, I would make excuses for, sure, because I was in it. And so I would just say, yeah, well, I'm working on it. We'll see if it gets better. It was a one-time thing or, whatever. And
I remember
I believed that, though. I believed it when I said it.
Yeah, but there's like a point where like it's kind of like the blindfold comes off and you see them like without all the infatuation and like the love, like you see them so ordinary and like you made them to be like this person in your head. And then when you take that away or when they just push you over the edge, you just realize how average they are and how messed up they are and how it's not benefiting you by being with them at all.
Yeah. Yeah. When you lose the respect and the trust, you fall out of love and you view them completely differently. When that love hormone's gone.
Yeah, it's a different perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then there's kind of like no way to go back.
And that stuff was there the whole time. And I thought that it would change.
You projected your fantasy.
Yes, because I
Yeah.
wanted to be in love. I wanted it to work. I wanted the bad things to not happen again, and for the garage to get cleaned up. And in my mind, I thought it would. Like, I really believed him when he said, "Oh, it's going to be cleaned up by the end of the month." I believed it every time. When I said, "Oh, he lost his temper that time, it won't happen again," I believed it wouldn't happen again. And then 8 months would go by and it wouldn't happen again. And so I'd be like, "Oh, we're good. Everything's good. It was a one-time thing." But, you try, you throw everything you have at it. When you're in love with somebody, you try to make it work no matter what, because you're in love. And I wanted it to work, but, people have to have boundaries. There's only so far you can be pushed. But Walker's right. When I did kind of get past the point of being in love and all the ooey gooey lovey feelings, and
How long did that
came out,
last?
You kind of get the
about
ick.
5 or 6 years, I guess. I was in the mad love. And then maybe the last 2 to 3, things started getting weird. But yeah,
Because it's interesting. I remember you talking about it, and you were like, "Corey, he's a roommate and he's a companion." It's like, listen to you talk about it now. You talk about like it was sparks and butterflies and amazingness, but at the time when you were in it, it's like you didn't talk about them that way.
all relationships are
So
like
you
that.
look through the past through rose-colored glasses.
Yes, but
You see it rosier than it
but
was.
I also see relationships for what they are, and it's 80% work, 20% fun. So I look at a really good relationship. Maybe it's because I've had some really bad ones in my past.
Yeah.
Is he didn't go to jail. We didn't lose the house. He was able to keep his job. There was no like drunk driving acts. Like, because my bar just fell so low in my past, that because he had a job and came home every night and wasn't a drug addict and all, I was like, we're doing great. This is amazing.
Corey, what do you think about the 80% work, 20% fun part of relationships? Because I feel like you've told me before that if it's not easy, then it's
supposed to be easy. That's what Corey teaches.
Easy and effortless.
Yeah.
I'm learning that.
So I feel like it shouldn't be 80% work.
Well, that's what I thought at the time. Like, from all my relationships, I always think of
Past
relationships are
experiences.
difficult. It's work. It's not easy. I've never had an easy relationship. So when things are, in a straight line, I consider that a success in my past relationships. If everything wasn't completely blowing up and going crazy, I consider that a success.
Do you think you should work for anything in a relationship?
You have to put in the effort, but it's got to be easy. Because at least for me, even my closest friendships, they're easy and effortless. Like my relationship with Chunky's dad is easy and effortless. Just like my friend Sean, our other mutual friend, it's effortless. It's always been that way. My English girlfriend I wrote about, it's effortless.
Mm-hmm.
We always got along well. We communicated amazing. She was easygoing, easy. Even now, whenever we do talk, it's like, it's easy. We never had any arguments. We got along well.
People tend to get carried away in relationships and they don't realize, like, this should be fun. We should be enjoying each other's company.
I think that what happens is
So
as
no,
you get
I don't
older,
agree with the 80% work. I think that's total bullshit.
Okay.
a lot of older people, I would say, they buy houses together, they run businesses together, they're raising kids together, their families aren't getting along. There's a lot of other aspects to a relationship besides dating and having sex and sleeping together.
100%.
There's, if they own a business together, that really can come between a relationship. If they have different parenting styles, if their families are drastically different, if they're moving and they're trying to buy houses, and there's just like so many adult things that come in.
Yeah.
Someone's filing bankruptcy or someone's getting fired from their job. Like, it gets really complicated. Or having a parent that you have to bring into your home and care for a sick parent or a sick child. Like, there's so many things that come into a relationship that make it more complicated, and it can't always be easy and effortless. That's the goal, obviously, but life happens. And like I said earlier, you have to meet people where they are and do the best with the situation. it is work,
I get that.
you
Yeah, but
know.
you should be working
Yeah.
together. You shouldn't be like fighting.
Gators
Just
don't
try
tell
not to
them.
take it as. I mean, it's easier said than done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Like imagine you
That's
have
what
to
I'm
take your
saying, like-
mom, she's sick,
Mhm.
and like you have to tell your husband, mom's moving in with
Yeah.
us.
Obviously, he's probably be like, "Oh my god, like
Like,
really?"
what do you mean?
Yeah, but like, just try not to take it as seriously. You know, like, okay, we're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Like, she's just staying. Like, she's like, maybe they're not on good terms, but
Mhm.
I won't know until I get there.
Yeah.
But I feel like people just take it so seriously when it shouldn't be that.
Yeah, I
deep, like-
agree.
Yeah.
I was talking to a guy last night. He just got divorced in February, and he's just really, really mad at his ex-wife. And I was like, if I could go back and give myself advice when I was going through a divorce, is we just got so mad. We were just so angry at each other all the time, out of just frustration and disappointment of a marriage ending, probably, that we would blow up over things that don't matter now. 10 years later, the things that made me mad then aren't even on the radar for either of us, my ex-husband or myself now. Money comes back in, he's remarried and happy. He has a new family. Our kids grew up, they turned out fine. All the things that we were fighting over and going crazy about 10 years ago, none of it matters now.
Yeah, you
None
think
of
about it, you're like, it was so silly that I was such a nag back in the day. Like, even in my
Yeah.
relationship that just ended. Like, I think about it, I'm just like, why was I complaining so
Mhm.
much? Like, it's like not that deep. And then
It's
I get,
perspective. You
Yeah.
look back and go,
but it's learning, growing, maturing. It's part of life. But I wish we would think
You were
more.
complaining because he wasn't showing up, and you wanted reality to be other than it was, and that's why you were suffering. That's why you got so angry, because you wanted him to do what deep down you knew he should be doing
Yeah, but
effortlessly, and he wasn't.
I could have
And you made
handled it.
excuses for that.
I
And you
could
stayed
have.
in longer than you should have.
No, I would have stayed regardless, and I still would like to be with him. But I just feel like I would have
You
handled
ignored
things.
reality.
I would have handled things better.
the staying longer than you should thing and making excuses. I'm so guilty of that. With all of my relationships, there's not one that I didn't overstay by a year or two. But my way that I always handled it was, in my brain, maybe this is me making more excuses, was I threw everything at it that I could to try to make it work, so that when I did walk away, it was
You had
really
peace of mind?
easy to walk
Gave it all
away.
you got.
Because I knew that I tried. There was going to be no going back by the time that divorce happened or that breakup happened. At that point, I was like, done. No tears. I'm done. I gave it everything I had.
That's the best way to do it.
So maybe that's an excuse for staying too long, too. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
The right people are easy and effortless. So, but what's interesting, because all the network care that all of us have done, if you're in a stress state and you're in a fearful state and you're in that fight or flight, the base of your brain, the reptilian brain, you'll literally build your life and attract people into your life that resonate with friction and giving you stress, because that's your reality filter.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get the type, the work like that Dominic does, and he puts you in that peaceful and relaxed state, now you vibrate on a level of being ease and delight and peace and no friction, or as little friction as possible. And so therefore you attract other people in your life that are kind of resonating on that level. And the ones that are like, you kind of push them out of your life, and you manage the distance between them, and you spend less time with them, and you spend more time. And then if you're building a business, if you're in a peaceful and relaxed state, you'll build a business that's got good cash flow, things are balanced, the bills are paid on time, you know what's coming down the road. It's like when I look at when I was in real estate versus now, it's like I was always stressed the fuck out when I was in real estate. I had stressful business partners, like Andy, the German guy, he stressed me out. The people that worked for me stressed me out. The girlfriend I had at the time, or actually all of the girlfriends I had at the time, same thing, it stressed me out. But it's like after I started getting worked on by Dominic, it's like my relationships got infinitely better. My friendships got better. The toxic people got flushed right out of my life. All the stressful things that I attracted in my life and built my life around were just swept out.
You didn't let them overstay their welcome. You
Well,
didn't
it's not
stay
that.
too long.
You don't resonate with that anymore. It's
Mhm.
like nails in the chalkboard. So you just literally don't want to spend time around those people or stay in those
Don't even
relationships. Yeah, because you're not in that same place vibrationally anymore. You're all about ease and delight, and you want peace and relaxation,
Mhm.
easiness, easygoing, easy to get along with.
Yeah, that happened for me for sure. I started seeing him after my divorce, and then I continued after my last breakup, and it helped me immensely. Before seeing Dominic, I was in the category of people that was always trying to keep everybody happy, being a pleaser, showing up for events that I didn't want to go to, being a part of a group that I didn't really click with because I was just trying to go along to get along. And after all these years with Dominic, I don't do that anymore at all. I don't go along to get along. If I don't get along, I'm out, you know?
Yeah, when you're getting a lot of network here, you won't tolerate bullshit. You won't tolerate the stressful people. You won't tolerate the stressful relationships. You won't tolerate the stressful job or business for that matter. I mean, within a year and a half, I was completely out of real estate. And it was almost 2 decades of my life that from the time I was 18 until I was, 37 when we liquidated our last piece of real estate, I was like, I was done.
Yeah.
Completely built a totally, as we were talking about earlier, I sold everything. My art, I got rid of my other car, the jet skis, both houses, all my furniture, the art, like literally almost everything, all the furniture we had in our office. We had 10,000 square foot office, all the chairs and the cubicles and desks and lamps and all that shit, computers and printers. It's like we liquidated all that stuff. It was so cleansing and detoxifying.
Yeah.
Because like all the energy and along with that and the, my house and the bed and the clothes and and the memories and the relationships, it's like it just flushed it all out of my life and I built something completely new and more
That's cool.
balanced.
That's nice.
That sounds amazing, actually.
Not everyone does that. Yeah, experiences that. Sounds nice.
I was watching a video. It was like 3 tips on how to make your life better in 3 days, But the first tip was clean your whole house. And I was like, it would take me months to clean my entire house because I have 10 years worth of stuff in closets and that sort of thing. And I was like, that's a problem. That is a problem.
You're a hoarder?
No, but
Was
I've
your mama
lived
a hoarder?
No, not compared to the previous hoarder we were talking about.
I have closets that I just, because I can't just throw things away. It's all sentimental and I have to go through it and organize it.
I threw all that shit away.
Pictures, photos?
Everything.
You threw away photographs?
Yeah, well, a lot of them, I should say. A lot of them I scanned.
Wow.
The picture frames, everything.
Wow.
When all that stuff's gone, you feel guilty when you get rid of it at first, but afterwards you're like, I don't have to deal with the clutter.
I know, like if your house burns down, that's probably a really horrible thing for a little while. But one day you wake up and go, man, I don't have to carry all that shit around from house to house anymore.
I always have to clean my space, whether I'm at home or work.
Yeah, her place is immaculate.
I do anything. Like I can't think or concentrate or work efficiently if I'm in cluttered space. Like I feel like it frees my mind. I don't keep anything that I don't need. Try not to, at least. Like
her house is like your house, Corey. Every drawer,
everything has a home.
Perfect.
It's
the way it should be. Bring order to the chaos.
Yeah, I would like to be that way. I'm just not built that way. Gracie and I are.
You guys are hippies.
Opposites.
Yeah, but I couldn't handle that either.
Yeah, Gracie and Walker butted heads really badly growing up. Thank God they had separate bedrooms because it was like Oscar and Felix, from The Odd Couple. They're going to miss this reference. It's too old. But Gracie was the slob and Walker was the neat freak. They did have to share a bathroom.
My brother was the same way.
Yeah?
He would make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. The cabinets would be open. The bread would be on the counter. And, it would fall over like an accordion. So the bread's on the counter. The peanut butter jar would be open. The knife that he used to make the sandwich would be laying on the counter. And the peanut butter would be, all over the counter. The jelly would be there. There'd be jelly on the counter. And it's like, he'd go through, he just spent as little time in the kitchen. As soon as he got the sandwich, he was gone. He wasn't interested in putting anything back to where it was.
my
fucking
gosh.
drove me absolutely bananas, man.
That's why I live by myself. I can't deal with anyone's stuff.
When she was
It
a
makes
little
me feel so
girl.
much better now too. Like just having my own space. It's like I mean I'm barely there because I'm always out of the house, but
Yeah, she
it
can't.
makes me feel so much better like coming home like this is all my stuff and it's all in place and I don't have to deal with anyone else's messes.
Yeah, I wish I could be like that.
I got people in my house all the time now.
I definitely have people over all the time, but it's like at the end of the day,
Yeah.
cleaning up and everything where it's supposed to be makes me feel perfect.